What's up, babes? It's Curly Victoria back with yet another video. So look, I've been sitting in this parking lot for I don't know how long, and that's okay because there's nobody here but me. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here to let you guys know I wanted to do a That Girl Boss Up video, just talking about how to boss up and become the better version of yourself. So I did not want to ignore Octavine, your request for me, talking about how people should get into investing in property and stuff like that without being a realtor. So let's start the video talking about that. First things first is, I would say, and this is just personal opinion, investing in your future, investing in yourself, having residual income, doing those things are definitely a great thing. So if you're already on that thought process, great. Sometimes it's easier said than done when you have a lot of things going on, because it's so easy to say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But there's a lot of things to factor when you're looking at loans. You have to look at debt to income ratio. You have to also look at credit score. You have to look at a lot of things, and you also have to look at the simple fact that owning investment properties is not your prominent property. So sometimes that could feel like more of a risk to some lenders, because they feel like, well, gee, if she defaults on this property, she doesn't care too much that she defaults it because that's not her primary residence. So they may be a little bit stricter on the criteria, or there may be other loans that may satisfy what you're trying to do, such as hard money loans and things like that, that might have higher interest but expect you to pay it back faster, or there's just an array of things that could be thrown into the mix. But I would definitely say look at your loan options when it comes down to that. Another thing, and these are my opinions, y'all, and just throwing out information. Another thing is, if you already own a home or you have other properties, there's a thing called a home equity loan, or your home line of credit. Basically, that equity loan is basically taking the existing equity out of one property and putting it into another. That may be a way in which you maybe take out an equity loan on one property and use that funding to go put it toward another property. Again, when it comes down to using an actual lender, and then it comes down to using somebody on that hard money side of trying to get property and things like that, the requirements could be different. A bank will be different from maybe like an in-house lender or a whatever. Everything has its requirements, but everything will be following a legal guideline. So I'm not going to sit here and put myself as a mortgage person. I'm not going to sit here and put myself in the form of a law person. I do have a master's in law, but I am not a lawyer. And I'm not going to put myself in the position, like I said, of a lender or any of those things. I'm not in a bank, anything. I just want to put this information in front of you so that you can further attack it. However, like I said, you can do that. If you don't want to come straight out of pocket with the money to do that. Another thing is like walking on a car lot. How you can have zero down and things like that. The better the credit, the better the rates, the better the percentage and things like that of your interest. So you're going to want to make sure that you're focusing on those prominent things. So the best way, you asked what's the best way to get into it, not being a realtor, is the answer is get into it. Do it. There's no right or wrong. There's no road book on how to create how you want to be successful. If that is something that you desire, go for it. Do it. Get your ducks in a row and start to acquire the property. Don't be afraid to, you want to make sure that you don't have all of your money tied up in, oh, well, I have this much equity in the property, so I have da 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 da. That's equity in the property. That's not necessarily taken out. You want to make sure also you have operating finances for the expenses that could come with your renters. If you're going to be investing and having renters and things like that in your properties, you have to realize that all of those things that come up, like broken washer, the screen's not working, oh, the AC unit is messed up, oh, all of those things that could come with issues from the tenants are your responsibility. And as a landlord, you have a certain amount of time to get things rectified, or let that tenant know, hey, I'm working on it, I'm getting this done, blah, 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 should be out there. You have landlord due diligence that you have to do. Tenants have tenant due diligence. So you can't treat it like your house. The washer is broken, we'll fix it in 3 months. No, baby. When somebody's living in that property, you have duties. So sometimes people want to jump into certain things and say, I want to do this because, oh, it can make more money. It could do. You have to sit down and look at the finances and say, well, if I'm renting this property out for $1,000 a month, but the mortgage costs me $900, you're only walking away with $100 profit every month. You have to figure out, what is the mortgage? What am I profiting? What do I have to put money toward? Am I breaking even? Am I in a negative? Am I like in a negative, like in a deficit, or am I in a surplus with a profit? You got to think about those things, because though it sounds nice, you're not buying that property at cash, you do have a mortgage on it or something like that, then you're not directly always profiting a lot. But if you're going to pay cash for the properties and then you put the tenants, then at that point, when there's no mortgage, everything is straight profit. And then you just basically subtract all expenses that might come with HOA if there's one, insurance, homeowners insurance, all that type of stuff that comes. You subtract your basics and everything else is profit. So you have to figure out your financial standpoint in the process that you're trying to do, and then you have to go from there. But I definitely think, yeah, you could do it. If you're going to be investing in property and stuff like that, yeah, you could do that without having a license. You don't have to have the license, right? But if you're going to get into that, selling it and stuff like that, that's a whole different ball game. There's a whole different, so you need to do the research on how far you're trying to take it into what you're doing. Always connect with the realtor. When you are interested in getting into those properties, feel free to reach out to me to let me know you're ready to get into that investment life, and I will connect you with someone in your area, Octavine, and anyone else who's seeing this video. But I'm making this because sis most definitely asked me to talk on how to get into this, not having a license. Another thing that I would say is really like stick to your guns on what your goals are. Don't get into investing and forget your goals, forget why you're doing what you're doing, and forget everything that you set out to do, because remember, this is not a personal primary residence. This is investment. So you don't want to F up, if I should put it that way, your streak of good history, and you don't want to mess that up in the other realms that you may have things going on, because your credit is now affected because this investment property has gone into foreclosure, and now you have to declare bankruptcy years later because you have too much debt just outstanding. Be smart about what you're doing. We all fall on hard times. Just make sure that you're in communication with the people who you need to be in communication in the event that something should ever happen, and go ahead and prepare you a plan. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So in everything, whether you're licensed or you're not licensed, always prepare to be successful. So that's what I'm definitely going to say. I hope that touched on pretty much a good amount of things. So just to kind of cover the basics again, make sure that you just look into what kind of lending you're going to need. See how you want to go. Do you want to go cash? Do you want to go get a loan? Also consider what is your reason for doing that. What are you trying to profit? Net, like what do you want to take home? And then can you take on responsibility outside of your primary residence and everything that you have going on to pick up the property? Because it's nice to have it, but you have to upkeep things. You have to pay for things. You have to. So if right now you're in a situation where you're like, I'm trying to save, I'm not trying to spend, newsflash, you're going to need to spend. Even for your tenants, you're going to want them to have good background checks. You're going to want to make sure that this person hasn't been evicted a lot of times. Why? Because that might be a reflection of what they may do at your house. One eviction or one money owed, or a couple of them throughout the years because they fell on hard times, that's not the same situation as somebody who every place they've been to has had a eviction. So you want to look out for things like that, because that could also affect what kind of tenant you're going to have in your property. So there's a lot of things to factor, but the best advice I can give when it comes down to that, when you're trying to get into what you're trying to get into it. That is the key right there. If you don't ever start, you won't ever be able to explore. So start. Do what you want to do and get it done. I believe in you. So again, when you are ready, just let me know. But anyway, I wanted to now transition because this video is in conjunction. Well, I think I'm gonna make this video separate so I don't just keep talking. So let's just say that is what I'm saying for today. If you have any further questions, Octavine, since you requested this, or anyone else, just as always, put your request for whatever video in the description, and I will I will apply those appropriate videos to my list of videos to make. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe to your girl's channel. This #1 and #2 at the same time. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Make sure y'all tap in.